Welcome to the No Limits Radio Show. I'm Christina.
And I'm Michelle.
We're broadcasting live out of the Scottsdale studios for Vets on Media. And we have Christy, Lynn Miller, and Ralph Terry that will be calling in shortly.
He's on with us.
You're both on. Thank you. Thank you
Yes,
for
we
joining
are.
us.
Good morning.
So Ralph Terry is the uncle of Brian Terry. He's also the president of the Brian Terry Foundation. And Christy Lynn Miller is organizing a golf event. And we're going to get to all of that in a minute. First, I want to welcome you guys to the studio, to the show, and I want to share with everyone a little bit about my connection to this event. The night that Brian Terry died was the night of my 39th birthday. I didn't know Brian Terry. I had no connection to him. Every December 15th from then, once I became aware of what happened to him, I always think about him. I think about his family. So I have a heart connection to this man that I don't know. In 2011, there was a fundraiser for the Brian Terry family. And I was able to attend that, and I was able to help Christy with that. So I'm really pleased that there's an event in April. I'm excited to be going out to that event, and I'm really excited to bring both of them onto our show to share with everyone who Brian Terry was and what his family is doing to honor his memory and to help other people. So with that, Ralph, thank you for joining us today.
You're very welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So tell everyone a little bit about who Brian Terry was as a person.
Well, ever since Brian was just a little guy, he wanted to go into law enforcement. He just thought that was something that he wanted to do. And unlike a lot of little kids, Brian actually got to live his dream. He graduated from high school, went into the Marines, got to defend his country, and learn, what it is to love your country and to serve your country. After doing his tour of duty in the Marines, he came back to the Detroit area and became a police officer in Lincoln Park, Michigan, which is my hometown, by the way. He served there for a while, and then he moved on to a neighboring community, Ecorse, Michigan, and served on their police force. So he was really doing what he wanted to do ever since he was, 5 or 6 years old. After the police force, his cousin, Bob Heyer, thought Brian might like to go into the Border Patrol, just another level up in law enforcement. And so Brian applied to Border Patrol school and was accepted, became a Border Patrol agent down in Arizona. And I guess he was about 35 or 36 at that point. Did a couple of years as a Border Patrol agent, and then decided he wanted to apply to the Board TAC unit at the Border Patrol, which I guess in layman's terms, the Board TAC is the tactical unit, but it's like the SWAT team for the Border Patrol. Well, their first response was, "Well, you're too old." And Brian's commander said, "Well, maybe you ought to take a look at this candidate before you just look at his age." Because Brian was about 38 or 39 at that point. But he had been an athlete all his life. He took excellent care of his body, ran 10 miles a day, lifted weights 4 or 5 times a week. I mean, he was a man's man. So they looked at him and they said, "Well, let's try him out." And he made the Board TAC school and ended up at the top end of his class, platoon leader, and became a Board TAC member. And he was just so proud of that.
That's wonderful.
It was a dream that he had since he was a little kid. And how many of us really get to live our dreams? And Brian was. He was respected, by his Border Patrol agent buddies, by his Vortex buddies. There's his locker in Arizona is still there in his Vortex team locker. They have a lot of his personal effects there, and they'll never remove that. It's a permanent monument. So the family decided that we wanted to keep Brian's memory alive, and we created the Brian Terry Foundation. And one of the things that we do at the foundation is we raise money. And the monies that we raise go to a number of areas. The first check that we wrote as a foundation went to the widow of an agent that was killed in the line of duty. That was not a fun thing, but it's one of the things that we will continue to do. The Border Patrol organization really supports its own members, and so that's one of the things that we've elected to do. On the fund side of the foundation, every year we give out a number of scholarships to young people going into college that are going to be majoring in criminal justice or law enforcement. We started that in 2013 was the first year we gave scholarships out. And so part of what we'll earn at the golf outing here in Dallas, those monies that we're raising, will go to help support those scholarships in the future, and help support widows and widowers of agents that have killed in the line of duty. So that's what Brian dreamt about. And that now, I guess, is what the family dreams about, is keeping that positive image of Brian out into the public arena. 20 years from now, some kid is going to be looking for scholarships, and they'll come across one because of the Brian Terry scholarship, and my hope is they'll Google it or whatever they're going to do 20 years from now, and they'll find that Brian Terry was a police officer, a Marine, a Border Patrol agent in the Vortex unit, and he gave his life defending his country. And because of that, I'm going to be able to apply for a scholarship and have Brian help me live my dream.
What a wonderful way to honor his memory, his legacy, and to help others. I think it's a beautiful testament, and what the family has created here is really incredible. I know that raising funds and putting together events is quite a task. Christy, Lynn, I know that you are involved in this, and going back to, let's just step back for a minute to 2011, because I want people to understand your connection to this. Did you know Brian Terry?
No. So, I didn't know the family.
Right. And I remember the night. The night it was my 39th birthday, and you were supposed to go to that with me. Tell everyone about why you didn't.
I just didn't feel correct. I was getting you dressed for your birthday, and something didn't feel right. Didn't know Brian, and didn't know the family. And at that time, I didn't know any of the ATF agents that I now know that were connected to Brian's, the political end of why Brian was murdered. But I believe that God always puts us in places that we don't ever really understand why. And that May, I was introduced to Jay Dobbins, who has been very much of a spokesperson regarding Fast and Furious, and is a huge supporter with the Terry family. And that's when I learned about Fast and Furious and Brian.
And
then
I remember you talking about Fast and Furious, and I have to tell you, I was so surprised at how upset every time you said Fast and Furious, and you were so upset about that. I kept thinking, why is she so upset about the movie? Like I didn't understand, and then when you explained it to me, I completely got it.
Well, unfortunately, nobody really knew it, even in Arizona. At that time, I was living in Scottsdale. I live in Dallas now. So in August, I woke up and I just felt that I needed to do an event. So I reached out to you and a few other people and said, I'm doing this event, but I don't know why, but it's sort of thanking Josephine, the mom, for who Brian was, for the character of the man he was. And so with the help of other people and social media, it was all Facebook, all donations only, we blasted it out. And on November, I believe it was November 13th, we had an event that we had about 250 people show up. The governor was one of our speakers. Katie Pavlich was there. Fox News was there. Things that I didn't even imagine, for the fact that I didn't really understand why I was even doing this. But because of that, I was able to, from what I've heard from responses, I allowed people to be aware of who Brian was. And to me, he was a hero, but a very humble hero. And this is what we need to embrace, because there's so many of them out there. But the family's giving back in a very humble way.
Right. And by doing the foundation, I mean, they truly are giving back. I mean, they're creating that next generation of law enforcement, which is incredible, or helping to create that by providing the scholarships. So the fundraiser that's going to be taking place in Dallas, tell everybody about that and how it came about.
Well, over the years, again, I didn't know the family when I did the event, and we were able to fly the family in, so the family was able to meet a lot of the people, the ATF agents and other people that they had never met before. And so my connection was with the chairman. He knew somebody that I knew from my past. So they had a dinner in Tucson, the foundation dinner. So when I had already moved to Dallas, I flew back, and they've had two dinners. So the last two dinners, I flew back to be there. And I got to know the family. And Ralph was there was at the last dinner, and we were talking. And to me, I try to look at things at the bigger picture. Kelly, the sister, and Michelle are very involved with the foundation up in Michigan. They've had a gentleman named Eric who rode his bike from Michigan to Arizona. He never knew Brian, paid it forward. And so to me, it's all about, let's help, let's assist, let's do what we can. And I am a networker. So I said, if you need anything, Ralph, you live in the Dallas area, let's talk. So he reached out to me and said, were you serious? And I said, I'm always serious if I say something. So I brought upon two people that were close to me and asked them if they would be part of our committee. And then I have about 30 volunteers that have been fabulous about running around getting donations, because I'm still new to Dallas. So we started putting this together last fall for the event. And it's going to be a little bit of a reunion from 2011, because you are flying in. Jay Dobbins is going to be my MC again. We've got the family coming in, and we have a lot of other people that are going to be flying in that are very supportive of the family and the foundation. And we're really, really excited about this. It's the first annual, so obviously I'm already looking at next year.
Of course you are. That doesn't surprise me. Of course you are. One of the things that I really like, you talked about how humble Brian Terry was. And you also are very humble, and I'm impressed by the fact, and I wanted to share this with everyone. The work that Christy is doing on this, she's not an event company. She's not being paid to do this. She's doing this because her heart was drawn to it. And I think that's something that's really important for people to know, because when people are looking at donating their time or their talent or their treasure, knowing that they're giving to an event and all of those monies are going straight to the foundation, and it's not, there's not a portion of it that's going off to an event company. Not that I'm saying anything against event companies, but that makes me feel better, and I think a lot of people do too. And I wanted to share that with everyone. So going to the event, the golf tournament in April in Dallas. Some people are listening that, maybe they have a business, maybe they could help support. Tell how can people support the event?
Okay, well, they can find, if they know you on Facebook, they can find me. But they can also email to ChristyLynn62@gmail.com. And I can let them know which direction they can do. I mean, I'm open. As I always tell people, they don't have to be in the DFW area to be involved. You don't have to play golf to be involved. We are having an event the night before where you'll be able to meet the family and get to know the people that are flying in. It's all about paying forward, honoring Brian. And there's no, my whole conversation that I have with people, when people say, well, my company can't sponsor. Okay. Do you know somebody? Can you forward it to? It's all about the Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation. We're all 6 degrees of separation. There's someone out there that doesn't know about the Brian Terry Foundation. And that will say, oh my gosh, I want to get involved. How can I be involved?
Right, but let's talk about some of those ways. I mean, there are sponsorship levels that range from $100 to $10,000. Do you still need auction items? Let's talk about some of the monetary ways that people can get involved to help this cause.
The monetary, they can go to the www.honorbrianterry.com, and they can click on the events. They'll see our flyer down below. They can just click there and make a donation. And I have found also that some companies right now are matching people. If you go through your company and say, I'm going to donate this amount of money, some companies, I just got a person who works for Dell computers, they'll match your donation.
Which is incredible. And I love hearing that about Dell. That's, as a consumer that's looking for a computer, I love knowing that about Dell. I think that's wonderful. And, and the sponsorship, the 2015 sponsorship opportunities, I was really impressed when I looked at it and I saw, I mean, you've got great ranges, everything from, like I said, $10,000 to $100. So really any business can get involved and do something. What are some of the auction items that people have, or that businesses have given to you?
Well, I do have a 7-day bungalow in a resort called Sabre Corner in Thailand. I have a condo in Park City, Utah. I have a condo in Hilton Head. I have signed books from Oliver North, Jay Dobbins, Joaquin Garcia. I've got handmade crosses. I have Dallas Cowboys signed auction items.
I think I know something I'll be bidding on.
Yes, I think you will. I have lots, a lot of local items here, but I'm looking, jewelry, anything. I mean, if people outside of DFW have tangible items, let's say you make, you make a piece of art. I have a young girl who she goes to art school, and I saw some of her pieces. She said, very beautiful abstract. And I said, would you like to do this? And she's like, absolutely. It's not going to just be a little piece of, an art. It's going to be a huge wall piece. That if it was going into a art show, it's going to be a few $1,000s. But because she's new, we're going to bring it where people, one day this little girl is going to be very famous, I believe. So my auction items, I'm all about anything and everything, because you never know what somebody will say, wow, that's a really cool auction item. So I'm looking for monetary, sponsorships, and auction items.
And I like that there are those, you've got those great getaways that are all over the country. And I really wanted people to be aware of that, because if you're listening, and, it really doesn't matter where your business is located, because you certainly can provide something with this, with the foundation and with this fundraiser. There's also foursomes that are available. Tell everybody about that. So if someone is a golfer.
Our foursome's $175. You get a swag bag, and our swag bag's going to be really nice. We're going to have cigars in there. We're going to have hats. And again, if a company has something that they want to throw in as their swag bag, that's promotion on their business. So with $175, it's a shotgun. We're going to have the putting contest, longest drive, all the typical contests that you do for a golf tournament. And then we're going to have a dinner, a buffet dinner, and our awards, and then our live auction. But what's great about both our events, because the night before we're having an event at a place called Love and War in Texas, in Grapevine, and you can pay $50. As I said, if you don't play golf, you just sort of want to be there, but you're not playing golf. You can pay $50 to come in for dinner, and the bar's on you, and you'll be able to meet the family. But we're doing a video of all the past sponsor young adults, so they can talk about, quickly talk about how they got sponsored to go to college. They've got a sponsorship coming to college. So that's that's our little tidbit. But even on our golf tournament, we're going to have a tent with Josie, where she sells her T-shirts, which solidifies her helps her travel, and you can get a picture, hugging Josie, and just get to know the family and everybody else.
That's great. And $175 for a foursome, that's really not bad at all. That's
no. It's $175 per person.
Oh, okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's $175 per person.
Okay, good. That sounds more normal. I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
Incredible that there are going to be things going on for those that don't golf, and great that there is something wonderful for those that do golf. As we mentioned earlier, I am definitely I'm going to be there. I encourage everyone else that, is here and that would like to fly out to Dallas in April. What a great place to go, a great event. And I encourage you to go to the website. If you're watching on the lower thirds, we've got the website up there for you. And Christy, I just want to thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming on. Is there anything else about the event that you want people to know?
I want people to, something, actually, I'm going to put that over to Ralph. Ralph says it the best of what he wants people to walk away from.
Well, our dream at the foundation is that at some point we'll be able to say to a young college kid, we got your back for 4 years. You keep your grades up, do Brian proud, and we'll pay your way. Right now we can't do that. We're giving partial scholarships, but that's our dream in the future. Is that Brian's name will be a star, be a shining star for college kids, and they'll be thanking Brian for decades to come.
That's wonderful.
That's awesome.
And Ralph, is there, before we say goodbye, is there anything else that you want people to know about Brian Terry?
He was an American hero. And the interesting thing was, or is, I knew Brian all his life, and it took his death to bring to light in my mind that I knew a hero all my life, for all his life, and never realized it until it was too late.
Okay, now I'm crying. Well, thank you both for joining us today. I know that the event is going to be a huge success, and Ralph, I can't wait to meet you. And Christy, I will see you in April.
You know you will. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
for sharing your audience with us. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Weird. We
Bye-bye.
just said that at the same time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to go to a quick
552.
break,
Yep.
and then we'll be back in just a couple minutes. I'm Christina.
And I'm Michelle.